This is a major mistake. This is at first going to increase the amount of rapes happening. What a strange thing to say. What is this? Our military installations have been turned into gun-free zones, leaving our service members vulnerable and exposed. That ends today. Troops can now request to carry their own personal firearms on base for personal protection without having to explain why they need to protect themselves on base. Oh my God. Oh, that's awesome. I'm not going to say anything because these are the moments where I say something like sarcastically and then they get clipped out of context. I'm just not going to say anything. Yeah, good luck to the American military. Wow, that seems like a cool thing. Deciding to play on New Game Plus difficulty, I see. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Cool. That's cool. Yeah, no, I can't think of I can't think of a better place to just like have a bunch of guys armed to the fucking gills, dude.
Our great republic was founded on a simple yet bold idea. Our rights as citizens are not granted to us by government, but instead by God. 250 years ago, the Revolutionary War was fought to secure our God-given rights. The Second Amendment to our Constitution enshrines the right of all citizens to carry weapons to protect themselves.
See, this is one of those things, right, that Pete Hegseth is too stupid to recognize was a rule for perhaps a good reason. Okay? Anyone who has ever spent any time as military police will be the first to tell you that this is a major mistake. Okay? Our boys get rowdy. They already have a lot of issues with rapes and murders on these bases without people running around with weapons. Okay? They have unconventional ways of getting those goals across. Okay? So if you just give them all guns, I feel like it's going to be a very different dynamic. It's very interesting that these dumbasses legitimately think like, oh, it was the libtard pussies that made it so that, you know, our brave boys don't have their fucking personal firearms at their hip on these military bases. And not because you don't want those guys to have access to their personal weapons outside of moments where they are you know, tasked with using them. Cool.
Their families,
what do you say?
And their fellow countrymen. The War Department's uniformed service members are trained at the highest and unwavering standards. These warfighters, entrusted with the safety of our nation, are no less entitled to exercise their God-given right to keep and bear arms than any other American. Our warfighters defend the right of others to carry. They should be able to carry themselves. Recent events like what happened at Fort Stewart, Holloman Air Force Base, or Pensacola Naval Air Station have made clear that some threats are closer to home than we would like. In these instances, minutes are a lifetime, and our service members have the courage and training to make those precious short minutes count. Before today, it was virtually impossible. Most people probably don't know this. It was virtually impossible for War Department personnel to get permission to carry and store their own personal weapons aligned with the state laws where we operate our installations. I mean, effectively, our bases across the country were gun-free zones, unless you're training or unless you are a military police.
I wonder if there was a good reason for that. Because, like, when I think of like American military bases having such a rule, my assumption is there's probably a good reason for that, you know? Given a bunch of 18-year-olds that are, you know, going through some crazy emotions and constantly getting yelled at, constantly bullying one another, an unlimited amount of access to weapons kind of doesn't feel like the right thing to do. Yeah, okay, cool.
You couldn't bring your own firearm for your own personal protection onto post. Well, that's no longer.
Yeah, for what reason? Like, there's got to be a reason, right, Pete? You didn't think about that? You didn't think that there was a reason for that? In your mind, you thought it's because our generals were pussies? Is that what you thought was going on? They're libtards. They want to do gun control because it's woke and gay. That's cool. Okay.
The memo I'm signing today directs installation commanders to allow requests for personal protection to carry a privately owned firearm, with the presumption that it is necessary for personal protection.
On a military base, brother, who are you protecting yourself against other than your fucking drill sergeant? Like, how is he not understanding the words that are coming out of his mouth? Like, what this implies? Protection from who? You're on a fucking military base, you idiot. Protection from who? I guess they do legitimately believe that, like, an armed society is a polite society. I guess they do actually feel like, you need to constantly be armed. Because, I mean, I always thought, it's a lie. Like, Republicans do understand that obviously you have to have gun-free zones because, like, more guns does not automatically translate to more safety. And part of the reason why I said that, and part of the reason why I believe that, it was because the NRA convention is a gun-free zone, right? Trump rallies are gun-free zones. It's not like Donald Trump is doing rallies where everyone can bring fucking weapons, right? So clearly, they kind of understand that you have to have areas where there's no guns, because more guns means less safety. More guns means accidents. More guns means someone could potentially use that gun, right? This was one of those areas where I assumed, people kind of understood that this is a reasonable request. Nope. Turns out Pete Hegseth actually does believe it. He legitimately thinks having ease of access to a weapon actually makes you a safer person, makes these bases safer. Cool.
Request is for some reason denied. The reason for that denial will be in writing and will explain in detail the basis for that direction. Again, the presumption is service members will be able to have.
I feel like this is at first going to increase the amount of rapes happening, and then it's going to end up decreasing it, if you know what I mean.
Their Second Amendment right on post. Not all enemies are foreign, nor are they all outside our borders. Some are.
What are you saying? Not all enemies. Dude, it's a military base. You're saying the enemy is within. You're saying that the enemy is other guys at the base. What the fuck? What a strange thing to say.
Domestic. Confirming your God-given right to self-protection is what I'm signing into action today, and I'm proud to do so.
I just don't think I don't think any commanding officer is gonna allow this to happen. I just don't think so. It would be really funny. It would be very funny to see how this plays out. I just don't think it's gonna happen.